Welcome back, guys. So, in this lesson, we want to look at data types in JavaScript. What are the kind of data we can store inside of our variables? So, we've seen how to create variables. How or what are the kind of data we can store inside of these variables? Okay. So, the first one we want to look at is we have different kinds of data. We have the number, we have the string, we have the boolean, we have array, we have the null, we have undefined, and then we have object. Okay, so let's see how we can create these variables. So I'm going to use the let keyword and say let name be equal to a string, and then I'm going to type my name, Emmanuel Bami Dele. Okay, good. So whenever you see any set of characters like this, A, B, C, D to Z, or whenever you have a statement or a word or anything like this, they are called string in JavaScript, and they should be always wrapped with quotations. So if you start with a double quotation, you have to end with a double quotation. If you start with a single quotation, notice I'm getting an error. Okay, I have to also end with a single quotation. All right. So that's just the main rule about creating strings. You can't start with a single and end with a double. So whenever you have any code like this or anything you want to write out, they are called string in JavaScript. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's look at number. So I'm going to say age, for example, is equal to, let's say, 10. All right. Now, whenever you have any figures like this, any numbers like this, they are called numbers in JavaScript. That kind of data are called number. And JavaScript allows us to write floating number. So I can say 10.05. This is not going to give me an error. It's correct in JavaScript. I can say 00.05. This is a valid, oh, sorry. I can say 0.05. This is a valid number in JavaScript. So this is a valid number in JavaScript because I can do floating numbers, all right? But I'm just going to leave it as, let's do 50. So this is also a valid number, all right? So I can also have something we call boolean. So I'm going to say let is student be equal to true. So whenever you have a value that can either take true or false, those kinds of values are called boolean. Sorry, those kind of data are called boolean. And you notice the way I've written is student here. So whenever you're creating a variable, your variable names cannot contain spaces. Now this is going to return an error. All right. So they can't contain spaces. So you need to look for how to join them together, either by using the underscore or by using the camel case like I've used. All right. Or you can add um sorry, you can add the underscore like this and it's valid, or the camel case like I have just like what you're seeing on the screen. Now, your variable name cannot start with a number. That is going to give you an error, but your variable name can end with a number. All right. So whenever you have this kind of data, a student, this is just checking if the user is a student or not. So if I say true, it means yes, the user is a student. If I use false, so I can come here and say false. This is still a valid data type in JavaScript. It means the user is not a student. So we can have something called an array. So let's say hobbies is equal to, now I'm not going to write it out directly. I'm going to use the square bracket like you see on your screen. So arrays help us to have multiple data stored inside of one variable name. So let's say what are the hobbies of this person? This person likes swimming. Okay, I can add something else. Just go outside of the bracket and then add a comma. This person likes to dance, so I'm going to say dancing. This person likes football. All right. Okay, so we've added three strings. Let's add number. This person is 30 years old. Okay, sorry. We can also pass boolean values. We can pass true or false. All right. So arrays, whenever you have data like this, they are called arrays. So basically, arrays helps us to store more than one variables, or sorry, more than one values as the more than one data as the value of a variable name. All right. So let's look at null. We have let nothing. Okay, so I'm creating a variable called let nothing be equal to null. So this null is a JavaScript word. All right, it's not just my own. I didn't just think of it out of the box. Whenever you say null in JavaScript, it means there is nothing there. It's not existing. All right. So I create a variable called nothing, and then I pass null to it. Now, if you check my variable names, you notice that they make sense depending on what I'm trying to do. So I want to store someone's name. It makes sense to call my container name. I want to store someone's age. It makes sense to call it age. I want to check if the person is a student. It makes sense to say is student. All right. I want to list out the hobbies of my student. It makes sense to call the variable hobbies. All right. So if I want to pass out null, it makes sense to call it nothing. All right. Now we also have undefined. So I can say let's say city, and then leave it like that. Okay, so I want to check where the person, what city the person lives in. So I can actually do this. So I created a variable, but I didn't pass any value to that variable. So whenever you see something like this, they are called undefined. So there's actually a container, but the container is empty, or there's nothing inside, or it's not defined. All right. Now the last one we're going to talk about is object. So I can say let user be equal to. So if I want to create object in JavaScript, I'm going to use the curly bracket. Arrays. If you want to create an array, you use the square brackets. If you want to create an object, you use the curly bracket. All right. So I can say what is the name of this person, or what is the school of this person. So I can say school, and then use a semicolon to say the value of the school is, let's say, ABJ International School. I don't know if there's any school like that. All right. So if I want to pass another variable, I can say religion, and say the religion of this person is Christian or Christianity. All right. So this is an object. An object can also take multiple value, and they are in key and value pair. So, or property and value. So this is the key, and then this is the value. The key of this object, which is the value of this user. Okay. The key of this object, we have the key as school. What's the school the person is going to? The value of the school is ABJ International School. We have another key, religion. What's the value of the religion? Christianity. We can also say gender as another property or as another key. What's the gender of this person? Let's say male. Okay. So these are the data types we have in JavaScript. So I think I need to comment this. This is called null. This is called undefined. Okay. And then whenever you see anything like this, they are called objects in JavaScript. Okay. Very good. So let's say I want to log this user to the console. I can come down and say console dot log. What do I want to log? I want to log user. So if I save that and then check the console, notice we have an object within the console here. Let me just bring that out a bit. So notice we have an object within the console here. If I drop this down arrow, we have the gender is male, the religion is Christianity, the school is Abuja International School. What if I just want to get the religion again? So I can use the dot property and say user dot religion. So if I save that, I'm going to get Christianity, because I'm only trying to access the religion within this object. Okay. What if I want to get the school? I'm going to say user dot school and then save. I get ABJ International School. Same thing for gender. If I save that, we get male. All right. So these are the data types we have in JavaScript. So we're going to use most of this data type, or one or more than one at least of this data type in this lesson. All right. So I'll see you in the next lesson, where we talk about arithmetic operators, comparison operator, and logical operator. See you in the next one.